The top stories tonight in Y News. After days of lying in state, the body of the late Queen Elizabeth II will begin its final journey later as part of a grand state funeral. Stay tuned for updates from our UK correspondents as they report live from the scene.
In a meeting with the Filipino community in New Jersey, USA, President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. urged our kababayans to promote travel and investment in the Philippines.
The Department of Education is looking at internal adjustments to finance the special education program, which was not included in the 2023 National Expenditure Program.
The Gig Court has ordered the arrest of comedian host Vong Navarro for the acts of lasciviousness case filed by model Denise Cornejo.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Monday, September 19, 2022. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am William Theo.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am Harleen Delgado.
Britain's longest reigning monarch was honored in Westminster Abbey. Hundreds of dignitaries were present, including U.S. President Joe Biden and French President Emmanuel Macron. From London, United Kingdom, UNTV News correspondent Jella Garmino will tell us the details live. Yes, Jella, go ahead.
Yes, William, the funeral service for Queen Elizabeth II has just ended at Westminster Abbey. The 2,000-strong congregation included some 500 world leaders and foreign royal families. King Charles and other senior British royals bid their farewell to the beloved figure who unified the nation during her 70-year reign. Among them was U.S. President Joe Biden, who paid tribute to the 96-year-old who earned respect for her sense of duty and represented a constant as Britain's role in the world diminished and changed. Outside the Westminster Abbey, people were standing on barriers and ladders to catch a glimpse of the royal procession. This is of the largest of its kind in modern history in the capital. Millions more also watched on television at home on a public holiday declared for the occasion. The funeral of a British monarch had never been televised before. Meanwhile, a procession of the Queen's coffin away from Westminster Abbey to Wellington Arch at London's Hyde Park Corner has just concluded. With the route lined with military personnel and police, big band tolls at 1-minute intervals as the procession moves slowly through the streets of the capital. People watch the procession in person from designated viewing areas around the route. William?
Yes, Jella, how would you describe the current atmosphere among the people there in Westminster?
William, the people are still lining up the streets of Westminster and along the side of the course of the procession. However, many are making their way to the parks to watch the succeeding events from Westminster to Windsor Castle. As you can see behind me, there are many people gathered here in Hyde Park, waiting for the arrival of Queen Elizabeth II in Windsor Castle. William?
Yes, thank you, Jella Garmino, live from London, United Kingdom.
Meanwhile, thousands of people await Queen Elizabeth II and Windsor. This is to say their final farewell to Britain's longest reigning monarch. From Windsor, Berkshire in the United Kingdom, UNTV News correspondent Giona Privado will tell us why live. Giona, can you give us a brief breakdown on what will happen there in Windsor?
Yes, Harleen. The British royal family will travel to Windsor after the state funeral of Queen Elizabeth II at Westminster Abbey, London, United Kingdom. The hearse is expected to arrive at Windsor from London at 3 p.m. local time. A walking procession at Windsor Castle's Long Walk will take place. The 3-mile avenue will be lined with the members of the armed forces. King Charles III, as well as other senior members of the royal family, are expected to join the cortege. The committal service for the late Queen will take place in St. George's Chapel at 4 p.m. local time. Queen Elizabeth will be buried alongside her husband, Prince Philip, in St. George's Chapel in the grounds of Windsor Castle through a private ceremony. Her Majesty's parents were also laid to rest in the small chapel. According to the Police and Crime Commissioner of Thames Valley Police, more than 150,000 people are expected to be at Windsor to pay their last respects to the late Queen.
One, to show respect to the Queen, and to, as a teacher, in a strange kind of way, mixed emotions. I thought she was a wonderful, wonderful woman, but just that tinge of sadness that this is her final journey, but it's also nice to be here to say a proper goodbye.
Very, very sad. It's very emotional because I was at the coronation in 1953, so that was the beginning. And this is now the end. So it's quite sad. But she's done very well, I think. I think Charles will do just as well.
As part of security operations, armed response section and drone units have been deployed. Back to you, Harleen.
Giona, up to how many people are allowed to attend the committal service at St. George's Chapel?
Yes, Harleen, there are only 800 people who are allowed to attend the committal service at St. George's Chapel. This will be a smaller and more personal ceremony compared to the service held at Westminster Abbey. At the committal service, they will hold a symbolic tradition of the end of the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. Harleen.
Thank you, Giona Privado, reporting live from Windsor Castle, Berkshire, United Kingdom.
On the sidelines of the 77th session of the UN General Assembly, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. hopes to see U.S. President Joe Biden. Additionally, he pledges to strengthen ties between the two nations. Tom Fetisa will tell us why.
President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos looks forward to a fruitful 6-day working visit in the United States of America. During his meeting with the members of the Filipino community in New Jersey Performing Arts Center on Sunday evening, he is hoping to meet U.S. President Joe Biden, as well as other world leaders. The Philippine president also is scheduled to meet some American business leaders to promote the Philippine economy.
Sabi ko, pagkakataon na natin at hindi natin silang mapupuntahan sa kanilang bansa, dito na natin silang kakausapin. So, aside from President Biden, I think we will be able to meet with some other heads of states, and as I said, some heads of big companies. Our relations with the United States remain strong, and I believe we will make them stronger in the coming years.
President Marcos is due to deliver his address on September 20, the first day of the high-level United Nations General Debate. Meanwhile, our fellow Filipinos in America are glad to see the delegation of the Philippine Chief Executive. They expressed their willingness to support the Marcos administration and also thank the Philippine government for looking after the welfare of Pinoys abroad.
That we will participate in all of our power and might to be a responsible member, and at the same time, with the foundations laid by his speech, we will take care of our country and motherland, especially itong mga sinasabi nating ordinary Filipinos.
Isang bagay na talagang very memorable for me is when he created the special department for all OFWs and migrants. That goes to show that he really recognized that the OFWs and the people working abroad are really making a great and significant contribution to the economic growth of the Philippines. So we are so glad that he is really focusing on that particular significance.
Also, PBBM has encouraged overseas Filipinos to promote the Philippine tourism sector and also invest in the country. Tom Fetiza, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The House Committee on Higher and Technical Education has approved House Bill number 1160, or the Anti-No Permit, No Exam Bill. Under the said bill, students can still take their exams despite having unpaid fees. Eileen Cerudo will tell us why.
There is a need to help parents and students struggling to pay school tuition. According to Kabataan Party List Representative Raul Manuel, with the stagnant wages and high commodity prices, there is no need to further burden parents and the students with finances. Private school groups also agree with scrapping the no permit, no exam policy. However, there should still be accountability from the students that they will still pay their school fees.
If we allow them to enroll and collect the balance only at the end of the school year or when they are graduating, the schools may not have the financial wherewithal to continue its operations in paying salaries, paying utilities.
It will also be beneficial if there will be alternative ways to ensure students will still be able to take the exam and settle their unpaid fees. Under the said bill, school officials, including deans and coordinators, will be held accountable if the no permit, no exam policy will be imposed. Proven violators will face not less than 20,000 pesos but no more than 50,000 pesos fine. School administration will face not less than 100,000 pesos but not more than 1 million pesos. Lawmakers, however, disagreed with penalizing private schools. They said private school institutions are also affected by financial challenges, especially amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Representative Manuel agrees in reviewing the said proposed amendment.
When we filed this bill, we really take into consideration lalo na yung kalagayan ng ating mga private schools, because we are also aware na nearly 1,000 na mga private schools na yung nagsara amid the pandemic dahil nga rin sa concerns on cash flow, yung pumapasok na income sa kanila.
Eileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, the Department of Education, or DepEd, is looking at internal adjustments to finance the special education program. Meanwhile, the Budget Department claims that some budget items may still be realigned and modified to accommodate it. Janice Inhente explains why.
The Department of Education resolved that it has a zero budget for special education programs, asserting that it proposed an allocation but was not considered in the 2023 National Expenditure Program, or NEP. The DepEd initially proposed a budget of 532 million pesos for its SPED program. According to DepEd spokesperson attorney Michael Poa, although the circumstances has been recurring, the department has been coordinating closely with lawmakers to ensure internal adjustments in the maintenance and other operating expenses of the school or other programs. The adjustments include efforts inside the DepEd to secure adequate funding for SPED. Meanwhile, the Department of Budget and Management, which is in charge of preparing the NEP, confirmed the DepEd's initial proposal but noted that it lacked documentation to justify funding for the SPED program. As of June 30, 2022, the DBM said SPED program under the FY 2022 General Appropriations Act has an obligation rate of 1.3%, or only 6.35 million pesos out of 560,202,000 allocation. The DBM said this funding provision will still be valid until December 30, 2023. The agency also said programs that need additional funding may still be realigned and modified by the DepEd. Janice Inhente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Department of Social Welfare and Development is considering a potential one-time extension of the disbursement of educational financial aid, even after the 6-week payout expires on September 24. JP Nunez will tell us why.
Out of a 1.5 billion peso budget, the Department of Social Welfare and Development distributed 1.2 billion pesos for the financial aid for education of students in emergency situations. They anticipate distributing at least 100 million pesos of aid on September 24, the last schedule of payout. Depending on the remaining fund, DSWD intends to extend educational payout beyond September 24.
Yung extension beyond the September 24, pinaplano, pina-fine-tune natin kung meron pa talaga, kasi ang nakikita nga natin dyan yung possible na one-time, big-time na payout na per district. Yan po ay subject sa availability of funds. Kung may masisino pa tayong pondo, well, most probably talagang magkakaroon.
However, the department made it clear that the payment extension won't be carried out immediately on the first Saturday in October. As the system of payout will change, the DSWD still needs to process another guideline. To staff more than 300 payout centers around the country, DSWD will require additional personnel. DSWD had previously stated that the extension will target those impoverished students who lack access to the internet and are unable to register for the program. JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
In the National Capital Region, the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board intends to reopen over 50 additional public utility vehicle routes this week. This is in response to requests from several transportation organizations to reopen the routes on which they formerly operated. Asher Kadapan Jr. explains why.
Several public utility vehicles in Metro Manila are still unable to resume their operation. This is due to the routes that have yet to be reopened by the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board. Some transport groups appeal to the board to allow the reopening of the routes where they used to operate.
Ang isang masakit sa amin dito, pinasok kami ng bus na wala naman rota dyan ng bus eh. Sila yung pinatakbo dyan, tapos kami yung nilipat nila.
Yung balik ruta na yan, matagal namin pinag-usapan nila Chairman Chiloy at ng dalawang board na yung mga bus na yan mismo, sila ay umaangal na gusto nilang bumalik sa talagang ruta nila.
The LTFRB, however, explains they have initially opened more than 100 PUV routes across the National Capital Region to address the passengers' need amid the school opening. But the board also recognizes the call of the displaced PUV operators and drivers due to the closed routes. LTFRB Chairperson Cheloy Garafil explains they really intend to reopen more routes to augment public conveyances for the increasing number of commuters.
So ngayon, itong i-open naman namin to address naman yung mga hindi pa nakapasada talaga. So ngayon, we're hoping na lahat na ng operator at saka yung kanilang mga PUVs ay makakapasada na pag na-open natin itong more than 50 routes this week.
The LTFRB anticipates the reopening of more routes and the fare increase in some PUVs will encourage more drivers and operators to resume their operation amid inadequate supply of PUVs. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, advises motorists to expect congestion in the area of Ortigas, Mandaluyong City next week, September 26 to 30, 2022. This as at least 300 delegates from member economies of the Asian Development Bank are expected to attend its annual meeting at the ADB headquarters in the said location. MMDA Acting Chairman Carlo Di Mayuga III confirms that no roads will be closed, but motorists may expect traffic disruptions in Ortigas and adjacent roads, including EDSA. The MMDA is set to deploy 500 personnel to help with the traffic management in the affected routes, especially along the route of the convoy transporting the delegates. Traffic personnel from the Philippine National Police, Mandaluyong and Pasig local government units, among others, will also implement traffic directions and controls along the ADB routes. Actor and comedian Ferdinand Vong Navarro is still in the custody of the National Bureau of Investigation despite posting bail for his act of lasciviousness case. Dante Amento tells us why live. Yes, Dante?
Good evening, Harleen. A separate warrant of arrest for actor-comedian Vong Navarro was issued this afternoon by Judge Laura Lee Cruz Datahan of Taguig Regional Trial Court, Branch 69. The rape case filed by the model Denise Cornejo this time is not bailable.
Ang mangyari dyan is the case is non-bailable, so his detention papers are already being processed.
Navarro voluntarily turned over himself into the National Bureau of Investigation or NBI earlier this morning after the Taguig Metropolitan Court issued an arrest warrant for a complaint of acts of lasciviousness. He has paid bail, but Navarro will stay in the custody of NBI due to the warrant of arrest for rape.
Doon sa kasong acts of lasciviousness, kung saan kami nag-voluntarily surrender, nag-apply kami ng bail at ito ay na-approve na. Pero bago magtapos ang opisina, before 5 o'clock p.m., naglabas ang RTC 69 ng warrant of arrest for rape. Wala kaming nakuha dahil hindi kami binigyan ng resolusyon ng Regional Trial Court, kundi yung warrant of arrest.
A motion for reconsideration for both cases of acts of rape and lasciviousness will be filed, according to Navarro's legal counsel attorney Alma Malyonga. Navarro, on the other hand, believes that they will win the fight in the end due to the weakness of the cases against him, and he said to have been the victim of the incident.
Kaya napaka-imposible dahil meron kaming katibayan, meron kaming CCTV na nakikita kung ano yung gaano kabilis. Wala pang 1 minute. Tapos pagkita mo dun sa elevator, pagsakay niya, nakangiti siyang sumasakay na nananalamin. Diba? Kung merong ginawa sa'yo, bakit ka namang ngingiti na nananalamin?
Harleen Navarro's cases were filed in 2014 and both complaints were dismissed by the Justice Department. Cornejo's campaign, on the other hand, appealed to the Court of Appeals, and the CA reversed the DOJ's decision in July 2022 and ordered the filing of cases in court against Navarro. Harleen?
Thank you, Dante Amento, reporting live.
The judicial branch has asked the Senate to reconsider even just a portion of the budget cut made by the executive department for next year. Harleen Delgado will tell us why.
The Senate Committee on Finance has begun deliberating the proposed 2023 national budget, starting with the judiciary. The judicial branch originally proposed 74 billion pesos. However, only 52 billion pesos was approved by the executive department. The judiciary is appealing to lawmakers to reconsider even at least 2.8 billion pesos from the budget cut, on top of the 52 billion pesos in the National Expenditure Program. Bulk of this will fund the creation of new positions such as judges and clerk of courts and preparations for the 2023 bar examinations.
Siyempre tinitingnan po namin ng mga positions na sana maidagdag po, hindi po natin mai-implement po 'yon. Tapos yung mga benefits that are due to many of our court employees that hopefully would further motivate them and inspire them to work harder, Your Honor, will also have to be put on hold in the meantime.
Challenge po sa mga taga-DBM. Okay lang po siguro sa ibang departamento, pero pagdating po sa judiciary, dapat po maghunos daily itong mga taga-DBM na basta-basta na lamang po mag-cut ng budget propose ng judiciary.
For the judiciary to be able to perform its duties well, to deliver the required services to the people, Congress must help give the judiciary the budget it seeks and it needs.
The senators vow to support the budget of the judiciary as they call for its modernization and speedy disposition of cases. Senate Finance Committee Chairperson Sonny Angara notes that the Senate has been supportive of the proposed budget of the judiciary. The judicial branch is composed of the Supreme Court, the Presidential Electoral Tribunal, Court of Appeals, Sandigan Bayan, and Court of Tax Appeals. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Japan is being pummeled by one of the worst typhoons the country has ever experienced, and millions of people have been ordered to leave their homes. Ruth Bahe will give us the details live. Ruth?
Kath, authorities issued a special alert warning for the southern part of Kyushu, Japan, as Super Typhoon Nanmadol brings unprecedented danger from high winds and torrential rain. Almost 10 million residents were advised to evacuate and seek protection in strong buildings and higher grounds. At least 20,000 people spent their night in Kagoshima and Miyazaki areas. Prime Minister Fumio Kishida postponed his trip to New York for the United Nations General Assembly for one day and is planning to fly tomorrow, Tuesday, after assessing the typhoon's damages. In a tweet, Kishida warned residents to stay away from the dangerous places and evacuate if they feel even slightest danger. He also ordered the officials to take all necessary actions to ensure the safety and security of the people with sense of urgency. At the latest, the storm is heading north to central Japan towards Tokyo and will continue its strength as it moves over the coming days, according to Japan Meteorological Agency. In a conference, they have advised people to remain highly vigilant for heavy rains, gales, high waves, and storm surges. Kath?
Thank you, Ruth Bahay, for that live report. A 6.8 magnitude earthquake struck Huangian County in Taiwan, and firefighters have located and rescued 4 people after the 3-story building collapsed. When the earthquake hit at 2:44 p.m. yesterday, September 18, staff and customers on the first-floor convenience store were able to evacuate, as well as other residents of the building. However, 4 residents of the apartments on the 2nd and 3rd floors were not able to leave the building before it fell. A 70-year-old man, 64-year-old woman, a 5-year-old girl, and her 39-year-old mother were rescued by the firefighters in a span of 3 hours, and according to reports, none of them were seriously injured. Meanwhile, about 400 tourists who were stranded on a mountainside due to blocked roads after the earthquake have now safely descended, according to local media. No injuries have been reported. Also, there are no reported Filipino casualty or damage to OFW work sites or dormitories, according to the Manila Economic and Cultural Office. Smaller aftershocks have been recorded across the country, according to Taiwan's Central Weather Bureau's Seismological Center, ranging from magnitude 3 and the largest was magnitude 5.9, but none was as severe. Still to this day, girls in Afghanistan are banned from having an education, a policy which was introduced after the Taliban took over Afghanistan a year ago. Marvin Delfin will give us the details live. Marvin?
Kath, Sunday, September 18 marked 1 year since girls were banned by the Taliban from receiving an education in Afghanistan. The United Nations estimates that over 1 million girls were prohibited from entering high school in the last year and 3 million from entering secondary school, according to UNICEF. Because of this, the UN expressed their concern as it not only restricts their basic freedom, but also worsens Afghanistan's economic crisis. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres criticized the policy, stating that 1 year's worth of knowledge and opportunity for women has been lost. Meanwhile, marking the 1 year, 50 girls wrote a letter to world leaders detailing the marginalization they continue to face in the country. An 18-year-old named Azadi expressed the continuous denial of their basic human rights, which allowed them to education, work, freedom, mobility, speech, and individuality. The rights which the Taliban promised to allow women to have if it was under the Sharia law. Kath?
Thank you, Marvin Delfin reporting live. After a massive burial site has been found in the liberated town of Izium in Ukraine, residents have been searching for the graves of their loved ones. Maven Dog will give us the details live. Yes, Maeve?
Kath, the causes of death have not been confirmed for the bodies found in a gravesite at the Ukrainian town Izium, but authorities said some of the bodies had tied hands and rope marks on their necks. In his daily update on the Russia-Ukraine war, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky addressed the torture speculations.
отримані нові докази тортур, які застосовувались проти людей, які там поховані. У звільнених районах Харківщини знайдено вже більше 10 катівень у різних містах і селах. Коли окупанти втікали, вони кинули апарати для знущання. Навіть катування було повсюду і було їх практикою на окупованих територіях.
More than 400 dead bodies were discovered when Izium was liberated last week, which were mostly civilians and included whole families. Izium residents believe some died because of an airstrike. Meanwhile, Moscow is accusing Ukrainians of staging the crimes and have denied targeting civilians. On Sunday, 5 civilians were killed in Russian attacks in the Donetsk region, while dozens of buildings, gas pipelines, and power lines were damaged by Russian strikes in Nikopol. Back to you, Kath.
Thank you, Mavian Dog, for that live report. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I'm Kat Dumaraos, live from Bangkok, Thailand. Good evening.
Philippine National Police Chief General Rodolfo Azurin Jr. said he intends to meet with Vice President Sara Duterte to explain their approach against lawless elements. Azurin's remarks came after Duterte said the government should show no mercy to criminals and terrorists as it aims to enhance coordination and cooperation on national security. Azurin said the PNP follows the basic rule of law.
That's one of my parang bucket list na I have to see the Vice President, not just as the number 2 sa atin, but also as a DepEd Secretary. Kasi napaka-importante ng role ng DepEd sa atin as far as yung peace and security.
The Commission on Elections is set to release a legal opinion on who will be the new governors in 2 provinces in Maguindanao. These 2 provinces were created by the plebiscite held in the province last September 17. According to COMELEC Chairperson George Garcia, Maguindanao del Norte and Maguindanao del Sur will soon have a leader. He also said it is up to the original officials in Maguindanao to establish the different positions, while the Department of the Interior and Local Government will decide on the issue under the Local Government Code. During the plebiscite, more than 706,000 or 99.27% voted yes to divide the province, while only more than 5,200 voted no. Meanwhile, the Commission on Elections will reschedule the printing of ballots to be used for the barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections on September 21, Wednesday. Over 91 million ballots are set to be printed, where over 67 million ballots are for village voters, while more than 27 million are for youth voters. According to COMELEC Chairperson George Garcia, the poll body decided to push back the ballot printing due to last-minute instructions with the National Printing Office. The official also reiterated that they want to begin ballot printing amid possible postponement of the elections on December 5. He said it is the poll body's duty to follow their timetable. Garcia also assured that the ballots printed will not go to waste in case the BSKE will be postponed.
A gallery showcasing the pink phenomenon will be open to the public beginning tomorrow. Named Museo ng Pag-asa or Museum of Hope, the exhibit highlights wide range of artworks and memorabilia from supporters during the 3-month campaign of the Robredo ticket for the 2022 elections. The museum is said to be the symbol of genuine volunteerism and bayanihan, which aims to echo a message of hope for the future where citizens realize their true power for change. A preview was held today for artists and volunteers ahead of its public opening, spearheaded by former Vice President and Angat Buhay Chairperson Leni Robredo. The public can visit the museum for free from Tuesdays to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. However, entry of guests will be limited per day and registration is needed to observe COVID-19 protocols. For more information, you may go to Angat Buhay's official Facebook page. Our kasangbahay, as the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity.
Good day. I'm Brother Eli Soriano of the members of the Church of God International. I want to invite you to join us in a minute of prayer every day to pray for humanity and the whole world as we go through these perilous times. While safety measures like washing of hands and strengthening of our immune systems may help us through this horrible predicament, there is still no precaution or cure more powerful than God's mighty intervention. And we need His intervention now more than ever. It doesn't matter what religion you are in or what denomination you belong. This is an invitation for all the people around the world who cares for the future of their family, friends, loved ones, and humanity as a whole. Everybody is welcome to pray with us. For more details, you can check out the description box below. Thank you very much, and I hope to hear from you soon. May God bless you.
Before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God. From the book of Colossians, chapter 4, verse 6, it says, "Let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that ye may know how ye ought to answer every man." Those are the reasons behind the news, September 19, 2022. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am Harleen Delgado.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.